Okay, give me 1 second. Hello, everybody. Okay, so learn to poop, forced to wipe. I want to cry. Okay, so my question is, should I have some music on in the background? Should I have like not like copyrighted stuff? Or should I have not copyrighted stuff, or should I just keep it off? I don't know, because it feels a little awkward not having music. Because I can just play my normal playlist if you guys would like. Actually, I got a good song. No, not Weird Al. Why would I play Weird Al? Oh my god. Here, I got you. Wash off your sin. That was really loud. Is this okay? Is this loud enough, or does it need to be louder? This is good. I think. Okay. That is true if it does get taken down. That's okay. I'll just mute the parts so then it doesn't. Okay. I just feel weird not listening to music. Aww. Yeah, I guess we can just use the not copyrighted. It's fine. Okay, so recap basically when it comes to the CC demotions, as far as I know on them, is there was a handful of CCs who were demoted due to inappropriate reposts on TikTok. And when it comes to that situation in its entirety, I did see some of the content that was potential for what they would have called quote unquote the inappropriate material, which for some of those some of the content, it was absolutely definitely inappropriate. I can say that for a fact. Yeah, there was god damn it, Kuka. There was a House MD meme that had House saying something racist. And then there was one that was just generally kind of sexual in nature. It just, the whole audio was wrong, and it was like an animation meme type thing, and it wasn't right. It was not a good one. However, so, and those were just a couple of the reposts from the people that had been taken down. But, okay, so when it comes to my opinion on the whole situation in its entirety, my opinion on it is like I have been saying since my own demotion. I feel like Sonaria has an issue with chopping the axe. You know, shooting first and not asking questions. With my own demotion, and it was something that I haven't been able to really talk about very much either. Which, you know, I'm not gonna lie, you know, if the people think that the mods are reaching at this point in time when it comes to the inappropriate reposts, I personally, you know, like, with my own demotion, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like they were reaching more with my own demotion than they were with theirs. And it's not to say that I don't feel like they didn't deserve it. Like, there was one that had it where the repost that they got, what was it, that they were like, that they got demoted from was taken down, so they couldn't even see what it was. So my thing with Sonaria is they don't talk to people before just cutting them loose. And like I was saying with my own demotion, it was an issue then with them just assuming the worst and not taking the time to at least let a person, you know, redeem themselves and reconcile. And I can say, you know, with my situation, I was very blessed to be able to become a CC again. Because I don't know if you guys knew with my situation. Back when I was with my ex, I was on, basically like how I was putting it to other people I chatted with, I was on a roll with making my status things that my ex had said in his sleep, because it was just really random, and sometimes the things that he said in his sleep were kind of funny. And so there was one night where he said, and quote these words, "Jewish pillows explode." Keep that sentence in mind. He said that, and I was like, okay, that's really random. And so I put it as my status, you know. And later in the day, I end up finding out that I get demoted because they thought that I was making a political statement / joke on the Palestine situation that was really fresh at the time that I didn't even really know about. So when you want to talk about Sonaria reaching, like, I feel like that was a good, fine example of them reaching. Because I'm not somebody who is politically affiliated. I'm not somebody who would make a joke about that. Or even remotely want to joke about a tragedy. And Sonaria made it, you know, very adamant and clear that they wanted to make sure that I was aware. But I feel in retrospect, like, in everything when it comes to the CZ demotions and how I dealt with my own demotion, I feel like Sonaria just needs to stop taking the axe to people and to not just let him go right off the get. I feel like people should have the opportunity to redeem themselves, because who knows if other games end up finding out that they got removed due to some other reason. And that can affect them in other games. But on top of that, when it comes to do a demotion, you know, you have people that are, you know, these are people at the end of the day. It does affect them, you know, on their mentality sake too. So I feel like Sonaria needs to treat this with more respect and more dignity instead of just, you know, sending the axe down. Because honestly, what could have resolved the issue in its entirety, because one of the things that I did not really appreciate that had happened was the announcement after the fact. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The Tokolaz's statement after the fact, like the announcement, it really did feel like Tokalaz was making an example out of the people that they chopped. And so, as much as Tokalaz wants to say that it didn't sound like that, it really did. Like it really does feel like that they were trying to make an example out of those CCs that were taken. And honestly, I can get where they come from in that sense, but at the same time, I'm just like, you're not going to have anybody on your side if you're just going to be making statements and, saying stuff like that. It's just not, you're not going to make people happy. No, literally. And there's been other situations that I can't really, discuss too much because we were only allowed to really discuss the demotion side of things, but I've been censored by Sonaria on more than one occasion. I've had, back in Legacy days, I don't know if you guys remember this, but like when I would curse in my live streams, I couldn't even curse once without potentially having my role being threatened or, getting a warning or something like that. I don't know if you guys remember that at all, but that was the thing that we constantly were having to deal with. So, like when I also say when I talk about like the CCs who got, cut and whatnot, I feel for them in the sense of like I feel like they should really have gotten the opportunity to get rid of the stuff that was on their pages instead of just getting rid of them because, like it just feels like it would have been the better option overall, in my opinion. Because it caused a lot more issues than what it was worth. No, seriously, Scarab, that literally was how it was. I would get in trouble all the time for even saying something like, oh shit. You know what I mean? Like, I would get in trouble for stuff like that. And there was another situation back in Legacy where the Cenarian Mons and they had okay, so do you guys know how clans have like the SOS call type stuff? Like where, they'll grab people to help them like kill some people in a server because they're being KOSers and stuff like that. So I used to do something similar but as an interactive thing for my group. So what we would do is we would like, we'd find a server with prime KOSers and be like, hey, we can go and raid these guys and make a raiding event and go raid a few servers. And so when we did the raiding event and go and like and yeah, that Clyde, I completely agree with you on that one. Honestly, I understand where people come from where they should have just known better. At the same time, if they're one of those people who just, blindly repost stuff and don't remember which one account, I feel like, you know, when it comes to certain things, there should be room to make a mistake and not just be completely villainified for it. I don't feel like people should just not have the chance to redeem themselves, especially when it comes to, something major like that. I feel like, it never was intentional. I never feel like these CCs reposted any of that stuff with ill intent. I don't think that they ever posted that stuff with ill intent in mind. So that's where I come from with that. So like, that's where I kind of see it. But what I was trying to say is back in the day where we used to have like those raids and stuff, they made it out to be to where we were basically like almost targeting people. And so COS had witch hunted my server for over a month and was demanding information out of me due to it. And they were also they were going as far as asking players of Sonaria like themselves, like the what do you call it, like just the general population of the COS server, like the Discord server. They would ask them for invites to my server so that they could snoop. So again, if you want to talk about mods invading your privacy, I've dealt with it all. And on top of that, there was one time that I got muted and I was refused to be unmuted due to me having I don't give a fuck in my bio, but it was IIDGAF. It was in my bio, and it was because I was getting mad at people sending me things about art and like wanting like commissions and stuff. And I had that in my bio, and they refused to unmute me because that was in my bio. And I said to them, I'm like, really, guys? Like, I can find 10 people with worse statuses than my bio. Like, are you joking? And I told them after they had me get rid of it and unmuted me, I was like, I'm disappointed in y'all. Like, seriously. Like, I can understand when it comes to abbreviation stuff. Like, but I just, you know, I feel like I get targeted a lot for moderative actions. Hasn't been recently, thank God, because like I said, I've been trying to be a good cookie. I swear. But the mods have been snoopy on my side of things for 4 years. They have done their own fair share of different things. And I can't say necessarily who exactly it was, because like I said, hands have changed and mods have changed over the years. Like, it's just... No, seriously, Ego, like, for real. Like, that's what I mean when, you know, like, when I say that these CCs are getting upset about the mods reaching into their privacy, I'm sorry. They have reached further into my privacy than you could even imagine. And I still haven't done anything or left. I haven't left Sonaria. I haven't really done anything about it. And, you know, I've had, like, you know, I've had people ask me, why do I stay? Why do you stay when you've been treated so poorly? And I tell them, I'm like, well, it's straight up just because I care about the community. That is literally the only reason why I stay. I care about the community way too much to just to see it burn. At least, you know, at least until I can't help it anymore, you know? Well, I mean, that's the thing. I could have gone after... You know, I could have gone after literally Sonaria plenty of times for the stuff that's happened, but at the same time, like I said, I haven't just said much because I'm like, you know, what can I say to them? You know, that I feel like I'm being targeted, and it's just over 4 years. I've had different instances. I mean, recently, like I said, it's been better. Like, the mods have been better. But, I mean, in my opinion, when it comes to, like, the demotion stuff, the behavior about that has not really changed, other than, like, you know, allowing a little bit more things to go on. But when it comes to Sonaria and reaching, they've done that to me for many years. And so I just, yeah. It's better off that I usually just don't say anything about, you know, the situations that I've been through. and just roll with the punches because I try to stay for as long as I can for the community to try to help you guys out, and that's why I do like the giveaways and do all the interactiveness because I personally don't feel like, a lot of CCs like to be so super interactive all the time anymore. And, you know, these are my ways that I can be interactive with y'all and do stuff with you guys. Well, that's what I'm saying when it comes to the raids, like that's why I do them because I mean, who doesn't just want to blow off some steam and have fun? I appreciate that, Fluff. I try to be as honest as possible because you know what, like I try not to BS, if I can help it. But that's why I was like, I'm okay with chatting about this kind of stuff. It's just I need to know if you guys wanted to hear my opinion on the whole situation. But I mean, that kind of overall is my idea on it and my view on the situation is just basically all that. I've dealt with it myself. I can feel for them. There just needs to be more communication, more ways for people to not have to just see the acts right away. And like I was saying earlier, the only thing that they really needed to do was potentially make an announcement and just say, hey, we need people to be checking their reposts because we've been seeing some inappropriate stuff. That's all I've ever wanted. Because on larger scale demotions, I feel like we should be at least taking some kind of measure in that way. I don't think that a lot of the stuff that was reposted was appropriate, but like I said, I don't feel like any of them meant it out of ill will. And we can't just villainize people just based off of that. Well, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I'm one of the only CCs who's educated enough to know that, Aerie don't deal with that side of stuff. And it's not to be insultive to other CCs, it's just like, if you knew the innards of how COS works in of itself, the dev team does nothing with the moderation team. They don't touch it because that's not their responsibility. They have a whole team for that, for them to take that responsibility, and I can understand where they come from in the sense of, that's a good way for them not to have to take and deal with that responsibility and have somebody else, another person, another whole team take care of it. However, let's think about this way. Who originally hired the people to do the management side of the COS mod team? Who was the one who did that? More than likely, in my opinion, it was the devs. So it's like, it's starting from the top is where we need a little bit of change. Not necessarily the dev top, but change in the way of how our head admins or head moderators think about the way that they should be approaching situations. But yeah, the devs themselves don't deal with that, and I understand that it's for them to not have to deal with that side of things because development is not really development is their shtick. the actual mod management is not. But, you know, I have to think about it. Who actually hired the original people to make that mod team? Yeah, I'm not sure. You know, Clyde, it did get blown up a lot, and then there was a lot of other people responding to it, even like Tokolaz themselves even responded to it because of how blown up it got. But that's what I mean. Like, you know, I don't feel like we should be placing that hate with the devs because, in all technicality, they're not the ones who deal with it. But, you know, if Tokolaz is really going to be taking the blame for everything on this, then that's where the blame in lies, is Tokolaz needs to change the way that they view it. But, you know, I can't have my words just change somebody's opinion on it because it's just not going to happen. You know, like it was, like I said, it was barely a blessing for even me to get my role back, even though I didn't even do anything wrong. So, you know, if they're wanting to come back, I wish them luck, the other CCs. I really do. But at the same time, I feel like, you know, with everything that's happened already, I think it's just best for them to stay off. Because I don't, you know, if this, you know, is something that they're going to be having to deal with and they just don't want to deal with somebody who is not going to be willing to hear them out, then Sonaria is just not going to be for them because this is just going to be how it is because it's just the same how it's been. I mean, yeah, the moderation has gotten a lot laxer in some certain senses, but not in every sense. And I understand that, you know, they need to uphold a reputation and everything like that too. But I feel like what upholds a more, or like a better reputation is not screwing the people that are making content for you. And I mean screwing by just letting them go outright instead of listening to them and their side of things and letting them have that chance. I feel like my opinion kind of is a little bit different than what I've heard from any CC, honestly. Because you know, when I hear from other CCs, I hear, oh, you know, they definitely deserved it, or oh, they definitely didn't deserve it, and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, there's two sides of a coin that we're just not all seeing here. And that's exactly what I was saying, Fluff. Like, you know, as much as Tokolaz wants to say that they didn't use them as an example, they did. 100% they did. And there's no other way to describe that. I mean, they can say anything about that the way that they want to, but it looks so wrong right afterwards, you know? It just doesn't seem right. Also, Reed, it's nice having you here, and, you know, I appreciate you guys, you know, sitting in and listening to, you know, my opinions on it and whatnot. Because, like I said, I feel like it's, you know, different than what, you know, than what people are used to. Yeah, like I still believe some of those demotions. Yeah, like, I can understand where you're coming from, Clyde. I still feel like, you know, they're justifiable in a sense. Like they did way worse than even I did, but like they should not have, like what Fluff said, felt like they were kicking them down. Like it just, the whole situation could have been handled way better. Because I mean, personally, even when watching Tokolaz's video, it just seemed like them just listing off a bunch of their rules. To me, it didn't really seem like much educating in the sense of, you know, about the situation. It was more just reiterating the fact that they have rules. Unless I'm gonna have to rewatch it again, but that's just kind of how it felt like to me when I was watching it. That's what I mean. Like, there's not really much of an explanation, or not one that I really saw for myself from Tokulaz's video, unless, again, I'm completely missing the point or the plot, and I don't know if I watched the whole thing. I'll have to double check, but for me, when I was watching it, it didn't seem like they were talking about anything but just what the rule sets were about when it comes to CCs and just rules in general. Like, it didn't seem like there was much else being talked about when it came to that. Which I'm like, yeah, that's a great way to approach it, but again, you know, we're missing the whole point here, is that we just axed a bunch of CCs and didn't even give them the due diligence to defend themselves or to do anything about the situation. Well, I mean, there's been a lot of, like, different opinions when it comes to it, you know? Dookie diligence. Well, because I mean, I think about it in the future aspect, like I was saying earlier, you know, like, what if down the line they wanted to be a CC with something else, and then they, you know, they find out that, oh, they were demoted from there, and then that just ruins their chances for other things. Like, that's what I'm talking about, is it can ruin potential future chances for them. So that's why I'm like, you know, I really wish that there was more communication with the moderation team and the CCs all together, because that's all it really is. They just need to talk. Tell them that they're doing something wrong. Let them know that something's going on, something that they can literally fix with a push of a button. Like, these are all just mistakes. You know, and I'm not going to sit here and defend the fact that, you know, that inappropriate content was being reposted to people in Sonaria. No, that's not it. It's just, they were mistakes. They were never meant with ill will or intent. They were just mistakes. And like I said, we should not villainize people over a mistake. Because I've been villainized plenty of times, and it doesn't feel good. It does not feel good. Especially during my month of being demoted, it did not feel good. I just, you know, I felt like my world was crumbling. Because something that I had spent so long building up and doing so much for was just gone. Just gone. Taken right out of my hands. So that's what I'm saying. I can feel for them. I really do. But at the same time, you know, there's so many different sides to these things, and we have to take it at all angles. You know, like what I was telling Kuka, I'm one of these kinds of people that I like to assess people based on what I know from either previous information or from, you know, I make judgments based on what I know. I don't just assume. You know, I'm a person who, if presented with facts, you can change my mind about something. Like, I'm not somebody who's just gonna be dead set in my ways about something. I take things from all perspectives, and, you know, that's a reason why I was an admin on Nublar and, like, did moderation on Nublar, is because I was really prolific and very good at my job. Like, you know, when dealing with reports and stuff like that, like, I was very good at my job. I was always getting the right outcomes, always, you know, like, I know what I'm talking about in that sense, I guess. Like, I've dealt with a lot. The tester team is scared because I have good ideas, oh lord. Well, that's the thing too. You know, you think about it this way, Ego. Though, if somebody posted some NSFW stuff in the chats or whatever or anything like that, you know, they would get banned immediately. So, you know, where you know there could be inline the argument of why should CCs get special treatment. However, when I see that, I'm just like, I feel like everybody should get the same treatment when it comes to anything like when being banned. I feel like people, especially, well, if it was an intentional posting of NSFW, I mean that's just a given. But if there was like an accidental something that happened, you know, I feel like people should be given the chance to like redeem themselves. But again, like, you know, how I was saying, like with me being a mod and admin, I seen things on all kinds of different sides, and so everything, in my opinion, is circumstantial. You need to have the information to make the right decision. No, Kuga, I feel that. Like, you know, that applies to here now. Like, I would love to be able to make a change in the community, and that's why I stay and do what I do. And it's not even that I am making a change with this, it's just that I am impacting lives more than I think I am. And I know that. But honestly, I feel like this has been a pretty decent and good discussion. I feel like you guys have kind of heard out my side of these things and whatnot. I'm gonna have to wrap this up because I need to get my dinner started. But I hope that you guys understand my opinions on it and where I came from with it, and that you guys kind of see my insight on it, even though it does seem like it is on two sides of a coin. The overall thing is COS moderation needs to communicate more with their CCs instead of just just sending the axe. That is my whole thing. Absolutely. You know, like I feel like it does bring some other fresh perspective to the topic because not, you know, you don't always get a CC who's been here for so long and have had so many instances to, you know, be able to tell them that there is things that definitely do need to change. And yeah, I mean, it was difficult for me to talk about all of these things because, like, I mean, it's not an easy topic, and especially about talking with about the other things that Sonaria has reached about me before and has done to me. It's more so the fact to educate you guys on that, Sonaria is definitely, they're not wrong on saying Sonaria is Snoopy. But at the same time, this was back in the day. Like, this was, like a few years back. Not a few years, but a couple years back. Yeah, no, literally, if I get demoted for this, grab your pitchfork. No, I'm kidding, don't actually. But no, like, I mean, Togola said that we could discuss the CC demotion stuff, and all of that, holds into my perspective. So if they get upset about that and want to demote me over me wanting to share my opinion, that's just more of a reason for me to move along. If that ever came down to it. And it's not that I would ever want to have to leave Sonaria as a whole because like I said, I really do care about the community. And I would never ever want to see myself have to just go. But, you know, I have been putting up with this for a very long time. So, we'll just see how it all goes, you know? Oh my lord, Kuka, that sounds awful. Yeah, that would suck. That would suck. But like I said, you know, Tokola said that we were free to talk about it, and I feel like all the information that I gave was prevalent enough to give me information and insight to provide to you guys about how the whole situation is and how it's been. So, either way, that's my whole opinion on the situation. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up because I need to get off of here. But if you guys want to discuss more on it, you guys can in my general chat in the Discord and whatnot, and we can discuss more on it. And especially with like the stuff that I've even talked about too. It's up to you guys. I will see you guys in the next stream. I gotta get going and go make my dinner. Yeah, I gotta go make it, quote unquote, even though it's just hot dogs. But it's nice hot dogs. They're all beef. They taste like the Costco ones. They're good. Okay, you guys have a good rest of your night. Thank you for joining me for this little chat and yep and that kind of session. You guys have a good one. I'll see you guys.